Hi everybody, Elin here. As you may see, I am currently holding a wand, which of course means that today's video will be all about Harry Potter, because who can get enough of that universe? Anyways, this will be sort of different from the videos I have done before, because this video will be a lot of spoilers in it. So if you have not read Harry Potter or if you haven't watched the movies, then you may not want to watch this video because there will be a lot of spoilers, as I said. But if you have either watched or read the series, then it's just fine. Anyways, since I love Harry Potter so much, I thought it would be fun to record a video of me pretty much telling you guys about everything I love about Harry Potter. And in this video I will start by telling like more general things about what I love about the series, and then after that I will go into more specifics from each individual book. And yeah, I think we should get started. For starters, as you may or may not know, Harry Potter is a middle grade series, and that means it's for 9 to 12-year-olds. And I read this series the first time when I was 9 years old, and I read them in Swedish then because I wasn't very good at English because I was 9. And I really love the books from like the first page, really. I was so stuck with all the characters and all the adventures that they went on, and I remember reading these books so fondly. And I was a little bit late for the hype because I wasn't that old like when the first book came out, because when Philosopher's Stone came out I was 2 years old, so I wasn't really reading then, if you put it that way. Anyways, I really loved the books from the start, and I have since then read the series about 20 plus times. I stopped counting at 20 because it was just too much to remember, and I have read the books a couple of times after that, so I really don't know how many times I read them, but at least 20 times. And I'm currently reading them again, and I'm on the 4th book, so ha. Anyways, as you may know, the Harry Potter series are, you know, evolved around the Golden Trio, as they're called, and there are Harry and Ron and Hermione, and I mean their friendship, it's not always perfect, which it shouldn't be, because well, it makes it more lifelike and more easy to connect to as a reader. And I really like the fact that Harry and Ron sort of found each other immediately, and that it was sort of awkward in the beginning because of who Harry was, and the fact that Ron knew who he was just by looking at him. And it was also really fun to see how their friendship with Hermione just grew, you know, because they really didn't get along in the beginning, and the fact that Ron really thought that Hermione was so annoying, and we all remember the whole troll phenomenon. And yeah, that's some like really like general thoughts about it, but I do think that we should go on to talking about more specifics from the first book. And that's this gorgeous baby right here. And in this book it's really about connecting to the characters and get to know them on so many different levels, and the fact that the friendship between the trio grows onwards, and the fact that you get to be a part of Harry finding out sort of who he is. I really like the scene where he finds out because of Hagrid tells him that he's a wizard, and didn't every child wish that someone would come and tell them that when they were 11 years old? I know I did. But anyways, I really love that scene, and when, you know, he goes to the Diagon Alley and you're supposed to purchase all of his things, and you get everything described to you so specifically, and you can really see the entire world in front of you, and it's so amazing, and you just want more. And also later on when you get to Hogwarts, and all the friendships and the enemies are sort of emerging, and you find out who likes or dislikes who, like Draco Malfoy, but whatever. Anyways, and it's just really fun read. And in this book, I mean, it's technically not that big compared to the other books in the series, but I still feel like so much happens in this, and you see all the characters evolve. And of course I'm thinking about Neville. He actually is this awkward, clumsy little boy. I can't remember if it's so would he save his life. He has really bad memory, and he's just so scared of not being liked by his peers. And yeah, it's so fun to see that actually in the end he gets the courage to stand up against the people he considers being his friend. And also the fact that Hermione, who did not get along with Harry and Ron from the beginning, that their friendship like grows closer, and they actually start to appreciate each other after the whole troll phenomenon. And the fact that she saves Ron and Harry's asses so many times, and yes, they save each other's also, but it's also so fun to see because she is a kick-ass female character, and not because she actually literally kicks ass, but because she's so smart, she knows everything, and well, she's like the perfect student and everything, and it's just really fun read. And of course, how can you not love Hagrid and his obsession with like crazy animals, and it's just marvelous. And for not this video getting too long, I think we should move on to the second book. And the second book has always actually been my least favorite in the series, and I really don't know why that is. Maybe because Hermione is not a big part of this book, because, well, she turns sort of into a statue, or what you want to call it, and it's more of a book following Harry and Ron. And yes, that's always fun as well, because they evolve a lot and stuff like that, but yeah, I really do like Hermione, so it might have something to do with that. But also, you know, you get this very much focus around the Chamber of Secrets, and you don't really get to see the characters that much in their actual lectures and find out about the magic and stuff. It's more finding out who is the Salazar Slytherin's heir, and how do you open the chamber, and where is the chamber. But the part I do like really much about this book, I mean, it's a 5-star book anyways, I mean, it's Harry Potter, but what I really do like about this book is that you for the first time get introduced to Gilderoy Lockhart, or Lockman as he's called in Swedish for some reason. Anyways, and he's this really like, he's very self-absorbed, and he's very like, he cares so much about his looks, and has like pictures all over his office of himself, and it's so much fun. He wrote a bunch of books about adventures and people he had helped that he hasn't actually helped. He stole those adventures from wizards and witches that he thought was not like attractive enough to be on the cover of a book. I mean, that tells all about his character. Anyways, and it's so much fun when he comes to Hogwarts and every single teacher hates him, and when he says like really stupid things and like try to make it sound like, well, you don't know that, but I know everything. And he tells all the teachers how to do things, and he tells Professor Sprout how to take care of the Whomping Willow, and tells Snape how to brew things, and it's so much fun, and I really like that. And also when they're supposed to duel, when people are starting to get like made into statues of stone, or whatever you want to call it, and he and Snape are supposed to show the students how to defend themselves, and he's pretending that he knows everything, that he's going to kick Snape's ass and everything, and he just fails miserably. That's the one aspect of this book that I really like. And then we come to book 3, which is The Prisoner of Azkaban, and this has always been my favorite book, which might be a little bit weird because Voldemort isn't actually in this book, and it's more evolving around other things than the other books, which is very centered around Voldemort and him trying to stop him from coming back and stuff like that. But I mean, this book, there's so much happening, and you get to meet Sirius Black, Harry's godfather, and everyone thinks he's this crazy man that killed a lot of muggles, and Peter Pettigrew. And then we also meet Remus Lupin, who everybody's looking at him, oh my god, his clothes look like shit. But the fact that they found out he's a werewolf just because Snape can't keep his mouth shut because he hates all the murder people. And you get to go on so many of the lectures in this book. I mean, the Boggart and Harry learning to do a Patronus, which is actually, he does that on his own together with Lupin and not the other students, but it's still so much fun to watch, and I can't help but love this book so much. And after having read this book 20 plus times, I was starting to look after like different details that might explain why Snape acts the way he does. And I do think that there are some hidden gems in there. So if you haven't read the Harry Potter series in a really long time, I do think that you should do that. And of course, I mean, this book is just so marvelous, and I mean, I can never get enough about the scene when Harry blows up his aunt. I mean, she was so rude and such a bitch to him, so she kind of deserved it, didn't she? I mean, I think so. Let me know what you think. And now we come to The Goblet of Fire, which is book 4, and as you can see, I have read like itsy bitsy pages in it. I haven't read this book in a while, which is why I'm rereading it. But I mean, in this book you are to take part, Harry takes part in the tournament, and this is not because he chose to. But what I really liked about this book is the fact that in this book, this is like the first time that Ron and Harry really gets into a quarrel, and the fact that they are mad at each other for so long because Harry was chosen for this tournament even though he didn't even apply. And Ron is so mad at him for this, even though he really should realize that Harry does not possess the magic that is grand enough to really trick the Goblet of Fire. And I just really think that this makes their friendship so real, and it makes you like see that this is how friendships are. They're not perfect, you don't always get along, this is the way it actually is. And you learn so much from this series in general, but in this case you really do learn that you can't always just believe things as you see them. Sometimes you really do need to talk about things. And it's so much fun to read this book, and I really do like the fact that they do quarrel, and that the fact they do get friends afterwards when Harry almost gets killed by the dragon. And you get to meet some new characters here, like Cedric Diggory, which you haven't, well, he was in the previous books as well, but that's only in the Quidditch matches. This time you get to learn a little bit more about him. And also Cho Chang, which Harry has a crush on, and I never really understood that part, really. They don't really have a lot in common, except that she also plays Quidditch. And they don't really see each other that much either. But anyways, I really do love this book, and it's also really fun because when it comes to the Jewel Ball, that's like the moment where Ron realizes that Hermione is actually a girl, and she gets really mad at him for just realizing that she's a girl, and oh, you can go to the prom with me, and that really pisses off because we all know she went with Victor Crumb. And yeah, it was all a funny story around that too. So that's really the main points to why I like this book. And then of course Mad-Eye Moody, who was not Mad-Eye Moody. It's all a big mystery, really. And if you look in the movie, you can really tell that it's not Mad-Eye Moody, because of the licking of the mouth all the time. It's sort of disturbing, but who doesn't know? And then we come to Order of the Phoenix, and I think we all remember reading about Dolores Umbridge the first time. She's this pink nightmare, pops out of nowhere and tries to like decide and make rules, and she has all these rules that Filch, like, he doesn't care, he just put them up on the wall, and he loves her for some freaking reason. We all hate her more than Voldemort, I'm sure. And anyways, she does add a lot of drama to this book, and that leads to them starting the Dumbledore's army, which is not really a clever idea, because that just made Dumbledore get in trouble when they found the list. And yeah, but it is really fun to follow how they make it into a thing, and they realize where they're supposed to hold their sessions, and you get to be a part of them learning like Patronuses and everything in between, and it's so much fun. And you do get to meet Sirius Black a little bit more in this book once again, and it just, oh, Sirius Black when he dies, oh my god, he just got Harry back. They've only known each other for like 2 years and now he dies. Fuck you, Bellatrix. Fuck you. Anyways, I really do like this book, and I mean, Snape. Anyways, and there's so much fun, and they groom all the place, and yeah, I just really like this book. But it is a behemoth, so I do understand if you haven't read the series and you think this is very frightening. Yeah, I get that. And then we have the Half-Blood Prince, and as you may know, Dumbledore is sort of looking for all the Horcruxes that Voldemort made. And yes, there were more of them than you thought at first, because, well, Harry is one, but spoiler alert! Anyways, and you get to follow Harry and Dumbledore when they're trying to find this locket that turns out to be a fake. And you're like, really? You almost died because of that? What the F? And it really annoyed me. But when there are in this like cave and all the dead-ish people like reaching for them, and Harry is trying to like make spells so that water will emerge, and it's so, you're like, as a reader, I was like panicked, and I just, Harry's gonna die, do something. Yeah, okay, well, I still like that after 20 times, I don't know why. But anyways, it's so much you get to learn about this, and it's really interesting, a lot of the things. And I mean, Harry's the only one that really, like, he thinks that Malfoy is a Death Eater, and nobody really believes him. And you get to be like a part of all his you get to be a part of Malfoy trying to figure out how to get the Death Eaters into the castle, and you know, the planning of killing Dumbledore, and everything just sort of goes awry because there's like Katie Bell who gets the poisoned necklace, and I don't really remember, it was wine or something that Slughorn was supposed to give to Dumbledore as a Christmas present, but instead he opens it and, you know, Ron drinks it or something like that, and Harry has to save him because Slughorn just freezes and just like, ugh. And it's really interesting, and you know, sort of fun to watch Malfoy struggle, because he hasn't really had this vulnerable part before. He's always been like the bad guy, but in this book you actually see him as more of a human, as a teenager, the way he's supposed to be viewed as. And you also get like when he tries to do these different things, you like remember, like, yeah, the hand that shows the burglar the light or whatever was in that, I don't even remember the story, but when Harry in the second book tries to get to Diagon Alley with the flu powder, and he ends up somewhere else in this dark magic sort of shop, and there is that hand, and the cabinet that actually gets the Death Eaters into the castle is also there, and the necklace and everything, and you remember that. And also the fact that the cabinet that Draco Malfoy is trying to mend in this book is the cabinet that Peeves destroyed in the third book. And it's always really interesting to like piece all these pieces together. And yeah, and then Dumbledore dies, and it's because Snape kills him. And the first time I read this book, I was like, no, Snape, I trusted you, why would you do that? Pretty much hates him in this book. And then we should go on to book 7. And in this book, you know that Voldemort kills Snape, and that's because he wants to get the Elder Wand. And you know, you really hated Snape, and then you get to see his memories of everything that happened, and you can't help but just melt your heart. I mean, I started to like Snape after this book, and maybe that makes me into a hypocrite. I don't know, I don't care, I just liked him after this book. And also, James Potter, he's a douche. Like, he bullied Snape for so long, and Lily didn't even freaking care that they bullied her best friend. It's sort of weird, and I don't really understand why you would be okay with that. So, I don't really like James Potter, and I know that's like, maybe not the most popular opinion, but yeah, there it is. Anyways, in this book, you also get to follow Harry, Ron, and Hermione trying to trace all the Horcruxes, and it doesn't always go as they plan. I mean, there's a lot of quarrels in here too, because Ron gets very jealous because he thinks that Hermione likes Harry. And I mean, for a long time it's been, you know, in the earlier books you haven't really seen that much, you know, about who will end up with who. And I have heard that J.K. Rowling wanted to keep all the options open because she didn't know if Hermione would end up with Ron or Harry. And that's also the reason why Ginny was always sort of in the background as an alternative to Harry's romance, sort of. And also that she was thinking about killing Ron, but in the end decided not to. So yeah, that makes it interesting in this case. Anyways, and also Ron leaves, as you may know, and he changes his mind the minute he leaves the place, but he can't go back because they put up all of these protection charms. And then these snatches come and Hermione is like, yeah, Bellatrix doesn't really treat her that well. But you do get to see you know, Luna in the dungeon and everything, and then Dobby comes and saves the day as usual, and Bellatrix freaking kills him, and that broke my heart. I don't really cry when reading books, like that's very, very rare, but this book, I was like crying the entire time. This book broke me so bad. And I mean, Dobby, he was so innocent. He just wanted to save Harry Potter because Harry Potter saved him from the Malfoys, and he dies. Oh god, I'm gonna cry right now. And it's so horrible, and Harry, he's like devastated, and he just wants to bury Dobby, and oh my god, it's so sad. It's so sad. And I know I'm not describing this book in like the right order. I just speak as I come up with it. But you also know that when after Ron left them, after Ron left him, Harry and Hermione goes to see this Bathilda Boghart. I really suck at names. Oh, I can't help it. But you know, the lady that Dumbledore knew. And it turns out that Nagini has like possessed her, and that's why she doesn't talk when Hermione is in the room, but she'll talk with Harry, and he doesn't realize that she speaks Parseltongue. And that whole scene, it's just like, oh my god, he's gonna lose a limb or two, and it's so scary. But before that, I'm the graveyard and see his parents' graves, and it's all very sad. And then you see the three brothers, you know, the Deathly Hallows symbol and everything like that. And it's just so much happened in this book, and it's such a good conclusion, even if everybody freaking dies. Why does everybody have to die? Anyways, we go to the final battle, and it's like everybody dies in this. I mean, the twins are split and one dies, and I just, as a twin myself, that was just too real. I was bawling my eyes out. And I always loved the Weasley twins so much. They were so funny, but they could be serious when they wanted to as well. And they always helped Harry, you know, with the murders map and everything. And I loved them so much, and they were always so funny. And then one loses an A and the other one dies. It was just, not okay. And when you're totally ruined about that, you realize that Lupin and Tonks, who just have a little itsy bitsy baby Teddy, and they're both dead, like inches away from their hands touching, and you're like, I ain't taking this anymore. I'm going frantic here, but it's just so sad, and that made me cry even harder, and I was totally devastated. And after that, I was pretty much crying for everything, I can tell you that much. I mean, when you see like Lavender Brown being killed by Fenrir Greyback, I never really liked Lavender Brown, not even when she was dating Ron, but I really couldn't get over that because I was just bawling like the last, you know, the whole entire battle thing. I was just bawling my eyes out. And then you get to follow Harry as he goes into the woods to meet up with Voldemort because, well, if he didn't, everybody would die at Hogwarts. And, you know, I think we all got a little bit, like, startled almost, like, when Narcissa Malfoy just pretend that Harry is dead, when we all know he was not, because he was a Horcrux, and it was just a Horcrux that died, were destroyed, whatever you want to call it. And she actually pretends that Harry is dead, even though he is not. And I think none of us was expecting that, at least not the first time we read it, but Anyways, and that just shows that even if you are like treating people badly and you're in this case on the wrong side, you still have a heart in there somewhere, and all she really cared about was Malfoy, her son. And yeah, that was sort of an emotional point as well. And yeah, it was just really horrible to see. And like the first time, how is Harry gonna get back from this? I mean, he has to. I mean, there's like a couple of pages left. He's not dead. We all know that. But you still didn't know how he would get back or whatever. And oh right, before that, he used the resurrection stone and he sees everybody. And oh, I wish that scene could have lasted forever because oh my god, feels. Anyways, yeah, so that's a lot of shit happening in this book, and I think I talked the longest about this one. I don't know. And like I said, this book made me cry all the time, and I don't really cry for books, so I mean, obviously it was a masterpiece. Yes. Anyways, now we have talked a lot about the magnificent J.K. Rowling books. So yeah, that was everything I had to say about Harry Potter. This time, I probably forgot to say a shitload of things I think about Harry Potter, and I mean there are some things I don't like that much, so maybe I'll do a video about that sometime. I really don't know. I'm really interested to hear about your favorite scenes from the Harry Potter books, or if it's something that you didn't like, or maybe if you have a different series or books that is your favorite. Please let me know what it is and what you thought about them. But please do remember that this video is just about spoilers about Harry Potter, so if you want to talk about some other book, please don't spoil anything in the comments, because it's really hard for people to avoid the spoilers then. So just general things you thought about a different book in that case. And yeah, I really do hope that you liked this video. I thought it was really fun to just ramble on about Harry Potter, because let's face it, I could do that all day, every day. Anyways, I do hope you liked this video, so if you did, I do hope that you want to subscribe to my channel, not only to show support for me and what I do, but also so that you can get a notification for when I update and upload a new video. So yeah, I do hope that we see each other next time. Bye!